Welcome, everyone. It's 4 o'clock on Thursday. Welcome to Ventana Wildlife Society's Condor Chat. First off, I want to apologize. We neglected to send out the frequent Zoomer link, and a lot of you pointed that out. That's my bad. I take full responsibility for that. I just want to thank you all for joining us anyway, and next time we'll make sure we get that done. If you are new and this is your first Condor Chat, I think the best way to sum it up is this is an opportunity to hear directly from those working with condors in the field and hear from them firsthand, the challenges that these birds go through as well as the crew goes through. And there's lots of ways to get to know the condors that are in the wild. I think next time we'll provide a slide with some links, but I want to point out just verbally here, we have a section on our website called My Condor Bios. Every condor that's released to the wild in Central California, or at least on the coast side, is named, and they have a bio. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on in today's chat for the next cohort of condors that are going out to the wild, and you'll have an opportunity to help us name those birds. So stick around for that for sure. If you're having difficulty identifying a condor, if you see one on our live cams, which we can thank explore.org, for example, you can watch the birds in real time. You can use Condor Spotter to identify the birds. You can go to the bios, learn about their individual personalities, and you can also watch films. We have a whole filmography section now on our website, and you can see firsthand some of these, how these birds interact with each other, at least on film. Anyway, I just want to mention those resources. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. And I have also on my list to give an update on Save the Condor Fund, which is this year's campaign in response to federal funding cuts. And I just want to give a quick update without a lot of detail, but just with a lot of encouraging news. We created this campaign back in May when we first heard that in 2026 we would no longer be getting federal funding. And we've had just such a great outpour of support, both foundations, corporations, individuals, that it's looking encouraging that we will actually reach our 2025 goal. I'm kind of knocking on wood. I want to give a special thanks and shout out to both the Loomis and Ferguson families who combined made a challenge gift of $60,000. So combined, and that really gave us a big boost here right toward the end. We're hoping to raise that $410,000 by the end of this month. So we're right at the tail end of that. We've had some tightening of the belt, but I think most of that or all of that potentially is behind us. So we just need to see how well the end of the year goes. Next up is the Monterey County Gives campaign, which is a 10% matching opportunity. That'll be coming up in November. So if we don't raise the full amount needed by then we'll roll it right into the Monterey County Gives campaign. And then, of course, unfortunately, this is not a one-time problem. This is an ongoing shift. And that's what we've been gearing up for. We've been trying to find the resources necessary to continue going. And what I mean by that is what you're seeing on your screen now. These recovery actions are absolutely critical to continue the work that we're doing. We know they work. We just need to keep doing it. And especially on the non-lead side. The outreach on non-lead is critically important. And I think many of you know that. A lot of our donations and foundation support has been steered in that direction because, after all, I think we know that the underlying problem needs to be resolved. It's horrible on all of us to pick up a dead condor when it's from lead poisoning, especially, and it happens all too often. So we need to get to that underlying problem, and I just want to thank you so far. I'm not saying we've succeeded in the campaign, but it really looks good, and I just want to thank you so much. We're going in the right direction. 2026 is going to be tough, but I think we'll be ready for it. With your help, we'll be able to get through. So that's the update for now. I'll have more information on Monterey County Gives in another month or so. And yeah, thanks again.
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, that's really awesome news about Save the Condor Fund. And thank you, everyone that's contributed. It's pretty awesome. Well, we have an exciting chat in store today. We have some new interns to introduce to everyone. We're going to give an update on the flock, of course. We have an in memoriam. We lost a great bird in late August. Um, we'll talk about him, Zephyr. Uh, but more exciting news, we have the 2025 rookies have arrived. For those of you that have tuned into the San Simeon Cam have already seen them. We're going to have a naming poll. We'll get more into that, but that'll be towards the end of the chat. We're going to talk about release day. We've got a date set, and we will have that. We'll get to that towards the end, and of course, we have some exciting nest updates. So yeah, without further ado, and of course, we'll have Q&A at the end with Mike. And of course, the introducing the crew. Today we have Danae Mouton's here. Wave to everybody. And Darren is with our newest interns down at San Simeon. He's going to do a little camera pan to get everybody included. And of course, we have Mike Stake here. Say hi to everybody, Mike. And of course, everyone met Kelly at the beginning. Let's introduce our interns. Woohoo! Welcome. I think everyone's excited to get to meet you, and maybe you guys introduce yourselves.
Sure, yeah. Do you want to go first?
Sure. So my name is Elizabeth Liebert, and I'm really excited to be here on the team. as-
Yeah,
yeah.
whatever you want to share.
I don't know. I have a little bit of experience working with condors previously. I spent last fall up with the Pacific Northwest block, with the Yurok tribe. So
Oh,
I
that's
love these
awesome.
birds.
Yeah, I'm Valerie. I just graduated from CACMB with a degree in biology. And I also have a little bit of Condor experience. I've done some field work here and there, with Ventana and some research as well, while I was an undergrad. So yeah, really excited to be part of the team and keep working with condors.
Yeah, and we are super excited to have you. And yeah, the fact that you guys had prior Condor experience, that's the experience up with the NorCal flock up there with the Yurok tribe is really awesome. And then Valerie, you spent some time with us during your CSUMB work, and you were so great. You did a really cool research project, so really cool to see both you continuing on with your Condor endeavors with us. And yeah, we're really glad to have you. You two will be caring for our next release group, which is pretty cool. And we're going to get to that later. But yeah, we're looking forward to have you guys join us on every chat. And folks, you're going to be excited to hear about the bird personalities and how those birds are doing down there. So yeah, Danae, did you want to add anything? Danae or Darren?
No, yeah, just we're stoked to have you guys on board and yeah, stoked to hear the updates about the new birds even just since I was down there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been great working with you both these past few weeks and yeah, getting you settled in. Yeah, and I know like Valerie already had some familiarity with the flock and Liz already having so much Condor experience with the Yurok tribe. It's been yeah, great to just see you guys carry that experience onto here. So yeah, we're just stoked to have you and yeah, excited to really get into the meat of your internship with the rookies here.
Yeah, so those photos, is that some radio tracking there we got going on the left there up on the ridge? And then I love the center photo. That's awesome. And then there's some actual rookie observations going down right there, right? On the right. That's the view inside the blind. And if for folks that are going to join us on release day, we actually we'll be live with the crew in the blind, and then we'll be looking at their view out that window for the release. So that'd be pretty darn cool. All right, let's get to the population. We are at 105 birds. It's actually, is it? Oh no, I'm sorry. It's still 105 because we lost 631, unfortunately, but we gained a bird fledged in the wild over at Pentacles. We're going to talk about that more later. But yeah, it was unfortunate to lose 631. That marks our sixth death this year. His necropsy is still pending. But Zephyr, he was an incredible bird. He was a stud. I'll definitely miss seeing him up there. I remember when we released him, he was part of one of the last couple releases we did in Big Sur before we shifted down to San Simeon. He was released with some super popular birds everyone knows, Kadama 646 and 650 Zenith and 652. And yeah, it was unfortunate when you lose such an old bird like this. He was 14 years old, just in his prime. And yeah, he will be dearly missed. And yeah, Danae, Darren, if you guys want to add anything to this about this great bird, feel free.
Yeah, I definitely second everything you said, Joe. And it's always hard to lose birds when they're reaching breeding age too. 631 attempted to breed last year in a trio, which was really cool. We were really kind of excited to see him enter that next phase of his life, and it's pretty heartbreaking that he's passed and the female that was in the trio as well, 970, is also passed. So it just hammers home, how heartbreaking it is when we lose birds at these breeding ages because they're just entering the prime of their life, really, in Condor years, they're still super young.
Yeah, and just so many, I mean, there's so many great memories of this bird. Like he was such a regular and a staple of our Big Sur sanctuary. And I remember like when I was an intern starting in May 2015, he was one of the first birds I saw going up there for the first time. And me and my co-intern Chris were doing some trapping, and he was a bird that we could always rely on to go in the trap
Yeah, that's right.
to get feeding started. And and just seeing him, I mean, he was at the bottom of the hierarchy there, and he rose through the ranks and was, yeah, one of the most dominant birds on the slope. So yeah, just so many fond memories of him. And yeah, really gonna miss him.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing. Like being up there yesterday, last couple of days up at the sanctuary, and you go to look for birds. You're like, okay, where's 631? And it's still hitting us. It's still hitting me that he's gone. So it's always rough.
Mm.
And I was digging through my old files and I found a great shot of him right after release. Since we're going to talk about releases today, I thought it'd be kind of cool to show him. This is him, bright-eyed and deer in the headlights. Look, that photo up there on the left. Um, just a little guy getting ready for the big condor world. But yeah, he made his mark. I know, his legacy will live on through the flock, so we know that, but his memory won't be forgotten, that's for sure. All right, the rookie lineup. Who wants to tackle this? We got a lot of numbers on there.
Yeah, well, here I'll get Valerie and Liz in on this too, but so we can talk. They're going to have a lot to share about all of the VWS rookies, but yeah, I'll have you guys just kind of go through our numbers.
Yeah. So the birds that we have from our flock or that are being added to our flock from the LA Zoo are 1265, 1289, 1290, and he is the only male in this group. 1300, 1302, 1307, and 1312. And then, yeah, as the slide says, we just got them on the 16th. So they've pretty recently arrived.
Yeah, we have an exciting video to share showing that journey. Your guys' exciting 2-day journey to go get them from LA Zoo.
Yeah.
And then I think it's good to remind folks on the right that Pinnacles, on the right there, Pinnacles is also releasing birds. They got their birds from Oregon Zoo this year. And there you can see there's similar stud book numbers, but 1257, 1261, 1262, 1276, 1294, and 1296. They arrived a little early, about almost 3 weeks before our birds did. And the way we looked at the gender, they're more male heavy. If you see there, they've got 4 males, 2 females, but we have, the 6 females, 1 male, but we're still, as a release, we consider our birds going out into the central flock, contributing to the same flock. So the good news is we got a lot more females because the population as a whole is skewed towards males. So, and we don't know exactly why it's skewed that way, but it's about 60-40, maybe not as maybe, yeah, about 60% male, 40% female. So this will help get that balance back. So yeah, we're excited to have the female heavy cohorts here this year. Yeah, and Condor transfer. We have a cool video. Danae and Kara and everybody filmed. So big thanks to them. They put together some really cool clips, and I smashed them together in a little quick video, just to share with everyone, to just kind of show what that journey's like. It's a lot of work. You go down, we have to give a big, huge shout out to LA Zoo, but you'll see some footage at LA Zoo, and then you'll see them all the way come up. But without further ado, let me grab that video. Okay, we got share sound optimized for video sharing. Okay. Everyone see that? Yeah, we're good. All right, here we go.
Outward or inward?
Yeah, and then the yeah, she was there from last year. Yeah, towards okay, whenever you're ready.
Great job on the video, on the filming there. That was pretty awesome. It is such a journey. Danae, how was that journey?
Yeah, it's always a fun drive down to LA Zoo. Yeah, we usually make it a 2-day trip, so we're not doing too many hours in the vehicle in one day, which is really nice. And yeah, it was great everything went super smoothly with kenneling all the birds up. We got there early in the morning on a Monday, and they got in their kennels, I think, within 30 minutes, which is pretty fast. Debbie down at LA Zoo was kenneling up all the birds for us and giving them one last little hold because that crew's been raising these birds from the egg. So it's always, they're always really excited to hear about their journey going forward, and we're always really excited to get the birds. So it's a really cool process, and just cool to kind of see the other side of condor recovery, which is the captive breeding program, which is vitally important to make sure that there's more wild condors to release into the wild. So yeah, it was really, really awesome. The birds did super great. At least in the vehicle I was driving, the birds did great. They were very calm and, didn't put up too much of a fuss. Sometimes you get a feisty one in every bunch that's, biting the inside of the kennel or something. But these birds were all pretty calm. I was pretty impressed. And then, yeah, we got to let them into the pen in the evening, so they had a little time to kind of settle in while the sun went down and watch a beautiful San Simeon sunset in their new home. Get some fresh food and fresh water, and yeah, they all kind of settled in pretty fast. I was pretty impressed. They seemed like an adaptable bunch.
Yeah, so they're in those kennels probably what, about 5, 6 hours total?
Yeah, yeah, it's a pretty, as soon as we get them in the kennels, we drive them straight up to the flight pen. So it's a pretty direct shot from there. So yeah, yeah, they did really well.
Yeah, and for Elizabeth and Valerie, that was your first transfer, or did Elizabeth, did you do one with Yurok?
Um, I did one with the Yurok tribe. So I helped with the transfer of A8 and A9 from the Oregon Zoo. But I did not do the LA Zoo transfer last year.
All right, there you go. Yeah, LA Zoo is always really cool. And you guys got to check out the rest of the zoo too, right? Go look at
Yes.
Yeah,
some other vultures and cool animals.
it was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
LA Zoo is so awesome. Thank you, LA Zoo.
Was a vaccination part of the service?
Yes, they came pre-vaxxed, fully vaxxed for avian flu and for West Nile. So that makes it easy. So when we'll handle them right before release to put their transmitters on, that'll make it a little easier. We'll just have to work with the radio transmitters and the GPS transmitters and get their vinyl color IDs on there. So yeah, that'll make it a little, it's a lot more logistics when you have to bring a veterinarian and do the vaccines and all the other stuff. So yeah, big shout out to LA Zoo for doing that for us. And there they are. That's the whole crew lined up, almost like they were given a memo. Can you guys line up exactly like this? Yeah, was this the first day or was this the second day? And these are all Valerie and Elizabeth's photos. So let's thank them. They've been taking lots of pictures. We're sharing the next handful of slides are all their photos. So I'm going to let them speak to the different photos here. If you guys have any tidbits of information you want to share with everybody, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can't remember if this picture was from the first day or the second day, but yeah, they just all lined up like that. They do that a lot. They were doing that earlier today, actually. It was just really easy to get a picture of them all together.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's one of those important behaviors we look at. It seems kind of intuitive, but that's one of the important things we like to see with a release group, that they're all really cohesive and tight. Sometimes we've in the past, I remember we'd get a release group and there'd be one bird that maybe wasn't hanging out with the others and it might have had an issue going on. So that's a major big check mark. So I'm glad you guys are seeing those seven cozy and shoulder to shoulder or wing to wing.
Mhm. Mm. I can't really, I mean, this is just them getting used to the pen, and you can see they're kind of feeding on the carcass down there in that first picture. So they're getting used to it all. They ventured out beyond the DDT and into the main pen there, which was really nice to see. I thought that the three of them on the other side, I think that's 1302, 1265, and 1312. We kind of just look like the Three Stooges, just like all together like that.
Nice.
Um,
Great shots, by the way. These are really cool photos.
you. Yeah, so if we can get into their personalities. So we we can start with, what was it, 1265? What we wanted to start with?
Yeah. Um, yeah, so 1265, that's the one with the orange tags. She is
Or 12.
yeah, 1265, she seems to be one of the like lower in dominance birds. So she does get a little bit pushed around by the other birds. Although, as you could see in that first picture, all seven of them will spend their whole day perched together. So she's not being like isolated from the group, but she is not quite as good at holding her own. And she'll get pushed off the carcass and pushed off of her roost spots.
Yeah. So that's on the orange tag. And then we also
Oh, there she is. Sorry.
yeah. And then going back, we also have 1289. And I know, well, we know that a lot of people have been making assumptions and everything of which bird will be the most dominant, which bird is the most dominant. We think that that is 1289 for sure. We don't unfortunately have a close-up picture of her in the slides there, but yeah, she's the one with the green tag. She is usually seen at the carcass, usually by herself, and she has no concept of personal space whatsoever.
Yeah, she will get into the space of the other condors a lot, and then she likes to try and spread her wings, even when she's very much spreading them into the space of all the birds around her.
Yeah, she does that. That's her favorite activity is whacking other birds in the face with her wing.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And then she's usually in the DDT too. She definitely wants out. So we're sure that when she's released, she will be doing quite well, we hope. Yeah, and then next in the list, we think 1300 is also definitely going to be a very dominant bird. When we were when the video showed us releasing them from the kennels, 1300 is the one that just like shot straight out of there. I think the fourth bird to be released. She's also very active and likes to spread her wings, but she will just push and shove her way to the carcass and just like completely push the other birds out of her way to get what she wants. It's really fun to watch. And then if you go to the next slide there, I think we have some close-up pictures of the next birds that we can talk about. So that's 1307. And Liz, you want to talk about 1307?
Yeah, so far 1307 I think is my favorite bird.
Mine as well.
She is noticeably the smallest bird in the group. She's not like tiny, but she is smaller than the other birds. In terms of like the social structure, so far we think that she's probably somewhere in the middle. She's not a super pushy bird, so like she doesn't get into the space of other birds very often, but she can also hold her own when other birds are pushing her around. So we sort of think she's sort of middle of the ranking. And then the bird next to her, 1290, and he is the male in the group. He is also sort of middle of the hierarchy ranking, except unlike 1307, he does try to push other birds around.
He's not very good at it.
Yeah, he fails. So, but he tries.
He tries, he makes an honest effort. He does his best. He tries to be pushy, but he's just like the little brother, you know, he's
You know, this is the first cohort, I think, where we've had a lone male with females. So
Yeah.
it'd be really interesting just behaviorally to see how that shakes out in the hierarchy. Because, you know, with condors, it's the male, it's not really male, female. It's more, there's more to it than that. So it'd be interesting to see where he shakes out.
Yeah.
If I could cut in real quick, I do think 758 Thunder Chief was the lone male in his cohort. So
Oh,
we see how he's turned out.
oh, there we go.
Yeah. So, you know, we could have the next Thunder Chief on our hands here. Yeah, and then we have, yeah, there's 1265 who we were talking about earlier with the orange tag. 1312, she loves to sleep on the perches. She's usually seen just like asleep, completely like loafing around. But we think she's also pretty dominant, probably like in the top for sure, because even though she minds her own business and is very independent, when she does want something, like she will get it. She's usually at the carcass by herself too, and she will like push other birds out of the way so that it like it's hers, you know, it's not anyone else's. So yeah, she's a very cute bird. And then 1302, this is probably my favorite picture just like ever of any bird.
Yeah, look at the eye. You can see the sun hitting the eye. Really cool. The amber
Yeah.
color.
Yeah, she's really pretty. And I think there's some more baby pictures of her as well you were gonna show. 1302, what do you think about 1302?
I I mean, so in terms of the social structure, she's another bird that's sort of in the middle. So she's above 1265, but she's definitely not more dominant than like 1300 or 1289. So she's kind of at middle of the pack. She's a little bit more of an instigator than 1307, but not quite as much as 1290. And then this is just a fun observation that our crew had. Her crop is just like really wide when it's full. So you could also kind of
No
figure
way.
out because her crop just is like she's got a big crop.
You got a big old crop.
Yeah. Yes, she does.
Hey, that'll get her that, you know, that's some rank in the wild, you know.
Mhm.
Got to show off the crop.
For sure. Yeah,
Oh,
but
and this is really cool about 1302. Who is going to speak to this? This is something you guys found out from LA Zoo.
Yeah, I can jump in on this one. But yeah, so 1302, one of the condor keepers at LA Zoo, Rianne, this was the first chick that she helped to hatch out of an egg. And so, yeah, they were just telling us a little bit about her story, and she was kind of malpositioned in the egg, which means that the chick isn't in the ideal position to hatch by itself. So she had to have some assistance in hatching out of her egg. And so that photo there on the left is her just shortly after hatching, which has got to be one of the cutest photos ever. I
I
mean,
know.
I,
My God.
I I think condor chicks are just some of the cutest things around, and like, look at that little face. Oh my gosh. Uh, so that was really cool. And then the photo on the right, I believe, is when the chick was like 16 days old, I want to say, so still pretty young, but just totally conked out, laying straight out on the towel, just fast asleep, which is also just adorable. And so 1302's nickname at the zoo was Bernie. And so we kind of wanted to keep that nickname with her just in honor of the LA Zoo crew and all the work that they did to raise her, to literally hatch her out of the egg and then raise her. And so we're gonna keep her nickname as is. So 1302 will be Bernie. And she is still very cute. It was funny because I remember when we dropped the birds off and I was with Valerie and Liz in the obs blind, and we were checking out the birds and stuff, and we all thought that 1302 just looked extra cute. And then we found out this whole backstory after the fact about her from the LA Zoo folks, and it was just really cool to, yeah, to hear all the insider info and then see these photos of her. And I was like, yeah, she's definitely the cutest. Look at her.
Yeah, and you know, I worked on the captive side for a little while, and I remember how tedious the center shot to me is the most that's the most tense time because there you have to wait before you remove those eggshells. You have to wait for the blood vessels to dry out that are attached to the chick. If you go too quickly and don't let them dry out, you can actually break a blood vessel and they can bleed out. So it's a very like there's so much behind the scenes stuff that you know, we've had Mike Clark on the Condor chat before, you know, long time LA Zoo keeper. God, I don't know how many birds he's hatched out of eggs like this, but he trained me as well, and it's unbelievable the work they do. So yeah, we can't say enough, not only for 1302, but all the birds they've got to hatch out of these malpositions. Like this chick was probably upside down or they have a right wing over their wing is under their head's under the wrong wing.
Yeah, I think that
You're-
was the case with 1302. It
oh,
was
okay.
under the wrong wing.
Yeah, and you can see the pencil lines on that egg. They mark that's the air cell drawing down inside the egg. They candle the egg every day and they mark and it's basically confirm progress that the chick is developing normally and you pencil line, you trace it. And that just shows you can see like as day 48, you can see in the center there, you can, I think everyone can read that 48 to all the way to hatch. You can see how fast it draws down in those last few days before it hatches at day 53. But yeah, just a whole world, pretty amazing. So yeah, I could just keep talking about it. But yeah, those guys are awesome. But wow, amazing pictures. Oh yeah. So they've been greeted, I hear.
yes, yes, we've had a lot of wild birds come down and hang out with the rookies. That one picture of 758 on the left. While we were leaving the pen, we looked up and he was just like right up there looking down at everyone.
Thunder
Uh,
Chief.
yes. Um, and then in that same spot, you can see it's a popular, I think it might just be the best spot for the wild birds to get a full vantage point into the pen because I love looking in right by those water tubs. But there's Bucky and then Strix looking in, and I think it's so funny because every time the wild birds look in, the captive birds are definitely interested, but they kind of try and get as far away from these weird birds looking in at them as possible. Like they're like, "Why are you looking at me? Please leave me alone." And so they'll walk away. These other wild birds are just left like waiting for new friends, but the captive birds don't really seem to be too interested.
Mhm. Yeah.
Those are great shots.
Thank you. And yeah, this was just a really fun moment that I saw with the wild birds and captive birds interacting. Um, so it looks like 1170 just grabbed a leaf for 1289, and it's a little blurry, so you can't like really see it too well. But it's actually kind of funny the way this happened because I just like 1170 grabbed this leaf from outside and is kind of like putting it like in reach of 1289. And then a couple seconds after this, 1170 is just like waiting there, like still watching 1289. 1289 just walks the other way and just leaves. And 1170 is just left like looking, watching, waiting. And she just looks so
You don't
sad.
like my leaf? What?
Yeah. Didn't accept the gift.
I know. How
Yeah.
cute though. That's really cool. All right. It's time for the naming poll. So I think Danae did the pronunciations on these words. So I think I'm gonna let Danae walk through 'em. I'm not gonna even try.
Yeah, I could jump in. So we're aside from Bernie, 1302 is kind of already nicknamed. We're kind of sticking with the theme. We've been the past couple years, we've done like endangered species and some like native flora and fauna of the area. So this year we kind of decided to go with endangered Hawaiian birds. That's a group of birds that there's a lot of extinctions that happen on islands in general, but especially in Hawaii as a result of mosquitoes mostly. And so that carry avian malaria. And so we wanted to kind of highlight them as another, conservation project that's really important that's happening. And as we all know, with federal funding getting cut, across the board, everyone's getting really affected by that. And island states are especially affected by that too. So just wanted to kind of, nod to that and honor some of these species. A lot of these species are critically endangered, similar to condors. They only have a couple, maybe 100 individuals left, and some of them are even more critically endangered and might go extinct within, the next couple years. So, yeah, I definitely recommend looking into more of these species too. But these are kind of our top 10 names that we came up with, and then we'll have you guys vote to pick six out of these. Since we have one named bird, we have six that still need to be named. So once after the poll ends today, we'll take those top six, and then Valerie and Liz will assign each of those top six names to one of the rookies. But so without further ado, I'll just kind of run through this list, and then yeah, Valerie and Liz or Darren, if you guys want to chime in on anything after I go through the list, definitely feel free to add some more details. So number one is Alala, which is the Hawaiian crow, and number two is Akikiki, and that is a small passerine bird that is a critically endangered species and has a lot of conservation efforts going on right now with them. So that's a really good one to highlight. And then next one on the list is Io. That is the Hawaiian hawk. After that, we have Moli, which is the Laysan albatross. You might know it by that name as well. So a really cool albatross species, another giant bird. So naming a giant condor after another giant bird is always fun. Then we have number five is Kiviku, which is also known as the Maui parrotbill. Then we have Nene, the Nene goose, which is the type of goose, the Hawaiian goose. Then we have Palila, which is a species of Hawaiian hunting creeper. Then we have Evie, which is the scarlet honey creeper. A lot of people, you'll recognize that kind of, I feel like it's a really common bird to see in imagery of like bright scarlet bird with a really cool curved bill. And then we have Holoa, which is the Hawaiian duck species. And then the last one on here, we just all thought was a fun name, and Valerie and Liz suggested it, and we just loved it. So the last one is just a fun little bonus that's obviously not related to Hawaiian birds, but Huckleberry is just kind of a fun name. So we threw that one in there as a wild card. But yeah, so these are our
And
top
it's a
10.
native, it's a native too.
It is, yes, it is a native edible species. And so we wanted to shout out to that too. So yeah, thank you, Valerie and Liz, for all of these awesome suggestions. And yeah, if you guys want to add anything, feel free. But otherwise, we could get the poll going and maybe keep chatting while the poll's running.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and launch it. So everybody pick your 6. Here we go. Everyone see it? All right. Let the voting begin.
While you're doing that, I want to recognize a few comments that were in the chat. The Nene is being recovered. I think I just looked it up, and they were downlisted from endangered to threatened. But I still think it's a valid bird to have on the list. It was threatened, and it's a success story going in the right direction. But yeah, thank you for pointing that out. The Nene is not technically endangered.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Kelly. I really like the story of the Nene. Is really cool. If you look into it, very very similar parallels to Condor's story. I really love that. And yeah, some people are putting some groups in the chat too to look into. I know Birds Not Mosquitoes is a really cool one. The Kauai Forest Bird Recovery Project is a good one. So yeah, we'll definitely highlight some of those too. But feel free to check those out and show them some love as well.
We're at 70% reporting.
I'm a little upset that I can't vote, but
I know,
okay.
me too. I'm like, ah.
I should be able to. Okay.
Yeah, Liz, Valerie, what name stuck out to you?
Well, so we mentioned that the Nene is actually considered recovered. The Io, the Hawaiian hawk, is also a species that had a really, it's now considered recovered. It was really threatened by habitat loss. And through both conservation efforts specifically focused on the Io and conservation efforts for other birds and conservation groups, their populations have now stabilized, which for another species to have like a successful recovery journey, it's
Yeah.
always
Conservation success story. Yeah, and then the Kiwiku, that one also when I was researching, that one also has a very like robust conservation program. They need a lot of help. They're definitely very critically endangered, but the bird is very cool looking. I mean, it's a parrot bill. It's very reminiscent of like a tropical parrot for sure. Very cool bird.
We'll give it 30 more seconds. So get your votes in. We're at 90. Yeah, we've got 86%.
I love Mike's comment just now. You should elaborate on that.
Yeah, there's a great book about the alala, and I don't have the name on the tip of my tongue, but it's about the story of that bird, and I think one of its main threats was the Hawaiian hawk. So you try to protect one species that's working in competition with another. It's interesting.
Yeah, and we've run into that before with peregrine falcons and other avian predators going after least terns and snowy plovers, and it's a similar kind of thing. It's an interesting conservation dilemma.
Okay, we're getting close here at 88%. How much longer we want to go?
I think we can declare a winner. Don't they choose presidents with less precincts than that?
Yeah. It's close. Some of these we got some ties. It's one of the closer ones I've seen. So we ready to end it
Give us a
officially?
countdown. Count us down.
Okay, we'll do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we end the poll. Share results. Can everyone see it? So who do we got here? Okay, Huckleberry's in. Kaloa?
Yeah, looks like we got
Alala. Yeah.
Nene, Kalila, Molly,
I don't know about name.
Akikiki.
Well, we got 2 at 71, so that's 268.
Okay, mine looks
3.
a little different.
What do you have?
Oh no, I see. I see. I didn't have my screen maximized, so you go ahead.
Yeah, so I think the top 2 were Kaloa Huckleberry. The next one is Alala at 68%. That's the third. And then we have, how do you pronounce it? Moli?
Molly.
Yeah, Moli at 66. And then we have Palila. Palila? What was it again?
Kalila.
Yeah, Palila. I had it right. At 5. And then, yeah, Nene at 6. Those are our 6 names. Somebody better write that down.
Picture.
Yeah.
Take a picture. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for participating, everybody. We like we love to get everybody involved, and it's really cool, and everyone can have a hand in the naming. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, Liz and Valerie will assign these names to the right personalities. I'll be curious to see who gets what. That'll be fun. We'll announce those on the release day chat. So that'll be fun. Um, awesome. Yeah, thanks everybody. And on that note, the release is coming up. It's actually coming up pretty quick. I think we're probably 4 weeks out, like a month out. It will be on a Saturday. It will be from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And release will be somewhere in the middle there, probably around 10, I'm thinking. And again, that's when we'll open the doors, and then it's up to the birds to go out on their own accord. Sometimes they go out pretty quickly, one by one. Sometimes they stick around for a little while. We really don't know, and we don't we do whatever they want to do. We don't force them to go out. We want them to go out on their own accord and with their own confidence intact. So yeah, it's up to them. But last year we had a pretty good show. They all went out pretty quickly. So yeah, and you can sign up for the Counter Chat Release Edition on the website there. Just go to our website and go to the Condor Chat page, and we will have that posted very soon. Or maybe it already is posted, Kelly. Is it? Yeah, I assume.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll be really, really fun. It'll be on a Saturday, so hopefully more people can attend. We have done it in the midweek in the past, just we were doing it a bit later and juggling weather and stuff like that. So yeah, and that is a possibility. There is the chance that this could get delayed by weather. If the weather goes sideways, we get a bunch of rain and wind, we will postpone the release, but we'll announce a rescheduled date and let everybody know. But for now, we're thinking October 25th, knock on wood, is before we really get the really big weather. So I think, hopefully we'll be okay. Cross our fingers. So for nesting, got some exciting stuff. Darren and Danae, you guys can roll.
Yeah, I'll dig in here. I'll start with the most exciting news and we talked about it a little earlier. But yeah, Pinnacle has confirmed that one of their chicks, 1373, fledged this last week. Not that long ago, but yeah, so yeah, 1373 confirmed fledge. That's 931 and 868's chick. And again, this was 931 and 868 also fledged a chick last year. Um, so yeah, that's one more. Well, yeah, our first chick of this year that has fledged. But I don't think we're gonna have to wait too long for the next for the next one to fledge. So yeah, the other pair at Pinnacle is 569, 589, who are also nesting in consecutive years. Their chick 1358, they're expected to fledge at the end of October, so our latest expected fledge. But yeah, all of the nests that we're monitoring on the coast should be fledging in the next few weeks. So starting with 219, 538, their chick 1371. We'll have a little bit more on them after this, but yeah, and then Liz, Valerie, and I are actually going to go check on that chick tomorrow. But that chick is looking ready to go based on our recent checks and what we've been able to see. Um, and yeah, their expected fledge is October 8th. It looks like it could be sooner than that. There's a good chance it'll be sooner than that. And then 168, his chick, 1381 that he had with 970, who sadly passed earlier this year. Um, we still have not seen that chick yet, but 168 is still going back to the tree, to the nest, every day, as far as we can tell. And yeah, so he's still caring for a chick there, and it's such a the nest is so I think we'll have a photo later on. The nest is so covered, and the cavity is so deep. We just don't think that chick has been able to make it out. And even 168 going in and out has his own little tricks that he's had to learn to enter in and get out. But yeah, that chick is we're expecting them to fledge on October 13th. And then the last nest that we're monitoring on the coast, 574 and 1006, their chick is 1372, and we're expecting that chick to fledge on October 9th. We haven't seen that chick either. Their nest is in a very secluded spot, so we're really only monitoring that nest through GPS that 574 has, where we can see he's visiting the nest, and then also where there's a spot we can get signals for 1006 and 574 when they're on the nest. So we're using radio telemetry to monitor there too. But yeah, lots of exciting times for the nests coming up. Really, the final stage as these chicks fledge.
We got the next nest season right around the corner.
Yep,
Just a couple months, a
just
few
in
months out.
time. Yeah.
We'll start seeing displays on the cams, and yeah, the next phase starts.
Mhm.
I'm just super thrilled to see. I mean, 13 from captivity, 5, right? From the wild, 18 chicks. And with, unfortunately 6 losses, but still, I mean, that's 3-to-1 ratio. I like that. It's
Yeah,
good
it's pretty good.
results.
Mhm. Yeah, so a little more on 1371. This us and the Pinnacles crew have been taking turns going to check on this chick, and so these are a couple photos I got from 2 weeks ago now. Again, their parents are 219 Puff and 538 Miracle. Yeah, they're 5.5 months old now. Just, I mean, little, I guess by that age, maybe a little early to fledge, but like by how they look ready to go. Like in the photos here, you can see, and yeah, Joe added some great captions here for the photo on the right. We were able to get a really good look at their primaries, secondaries, tail feathers. All of those flight feathers are fully grown in. So really, it's just a matter of time, and when 1371 decides they want to take off and try flying for the first time. For that's really all that's left for this chick to fledge. And yeah, 219, 538 still visit very regularly to feed them. But their visits are pretty quick. So when they leave, their chick is left wondering where they went. As you can see on this photo on the left, they kind of just chill out. Like I was there when I got these photos. It was late afternoon. It was hot. Most of the day had passed already. This chick was pretty done with the day, I think. And just vegging out and yeah, trying to get through the heat and taking in the views and
Yeah,
yeah.
it's got to be by design. When the parents stop sticking around, they're like, "All right, time to get going."
Yep. Hmm.
Pretty cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
great photos, Darren.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I'll get more tomorrow and we'll see we'll see where this chick is, if they fledged or not.
And it's rare we get photos like that one you got on the right, where you can, we talk about feather growth, with especially these young fledges. That's kind of an indicator to us that they're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Because some of the earlier photos from a month ago, we saw a lot of the tail. I mean, we saw a lot of the primaries and secondaries, but that tail was only about half, was about 2/3 in. But there you can see the length on it. Like
Hmm.
you don't see any pins at the end. It's pretty that's a pretty full tail, so that's a great sign.
Hmm. I was trying to remember when I've seen a chick sunning like this.
I know. Yeah.
I feel like I almost never do. So yeah, that was wild just to like see this chick and not fledged yet, but yeah, just already sunning its wings and feathers, and yeah, it was just so cool.
I'll be excited to see what you guys find tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted.
Yeah. Share it at the release chat.
Hmm.
All right. The craziness, we've been joking about this poor chick. When it finally comes out, it's going to be all pale and it's been stuck inside this. This is a photo by Tim. Tim Huntington's been helping us watch this nest, and he has obviously his great photo equipment, and he's been trying to capture the chick inside that tangle of brush there, off that redwood tree, all those redwood branches. And he actually, I'm going to show a really quick video. He took a cool video to show you how crazy it is for 168 to get in and out of this thing. It's a short one, but it's pretty amazing. Here, I'll share it right now. Everyone see that? All right, I'm going to play it. No sound or anything, just watch 168 navigate this cavity here. And eventually he drops in. There you go.
So is that the
And
top
he's gone.
wood tree? Is that like the very top of the tree?
Yeah, it's a tree that probably broke in half
Mm.
at some point, but yeah, he just disappears down inside. It's probably like a stovepipe top, and it's grown. It's the branches have reiterated and covered that broken top of that tree. It may have burned in a past fire. But yeah, it's probably the most hidden redwood nest we've ever had. So pretty amazing. But he wouldn't be going in there unless there was a chick to feed. So that's encouraging. We still haven't physically seen the chick, so it's always kind of awkward. We're like, we pretty sure it exists. It exists. And more often than not, 99% of the time, we're right, and there is a chick in there. So, but when that chick finally does get out, it's going to be pretty interesting. It's gonna, oh my God, I can see. Yeah, you guys want to add anything more? All good.
Get the questions.
Yeah. All right. I put the Condor release chat stuff up here, so while we're answering questions, folks can jot down the date. What we got, Mike?
Yeah, let me put you on the spot here. Sullivan in Martinez, California. He'd like to know Jade's number. I assume we're talking about a condor here. Is there a condor named Jade?
Absolutely. Featured in the film Condor Canyon. 1204? No, what was?
We'll
Yeah,
have
it's
to look.
1204.
Yeah, 1204.
1204. Okay. And maybe Kelly mentioned this earlier, but maybe could you circle back and say again how viewers can keep track of individual condors, maybe look at them on the cam or learn more about each individual?
Yeah, sure. And I think what we'll do is put a slide together next time with a bunch of links. But on the website, you'll go to the Condor section, and there's a live cams link, it's called, and explore.org provides those for us. And in San Simeon, Ranch Wi-Fi provides access to the internet. And that's a great way to watch the birds in real time, as long as they're powered up. And so sometimes in the middle of winter when we have storms, they'll shut down, but as soon as the sun comes back out, they'll power back up. So it's a great way to keep tabs on the flock. And then as you see those numbers on the wing tags, you can use the tool called Condor Spotter to identify that bird. And then from there, it can take you to a link, which includes a bio. So it tells you about the personality of the bird and what kind of history it has, how many chicks it may have had or siblings and whatnot. And so it's just a real fun way to stay engaged, get more familiar with the individual birds.
And I will add that it is addicting, so be forewarned. Thank you, Sullivan, for that question, and also for your question about funding. Kelly touched on that earlier, and he might touch on it again on our way out. Joe and crew, did we see Condor 646 scratching the chin as in flight earlier in the chat? Is that something that you see condors do? And can you name any other unique condor behaviors in flight that kind of makes you think, that's a condor?
Yeah, that's pretty common actually for the birds to reach up and brush something off while they're mid-flight. One other thing they do mid-flight, and there's no name for it, but the birds flex their wings. They'll be flying and they just kind of bubble them down real quick. And we don't know really why they do it, but we assume it's something related to flight and maybe feeling the strength of a thermal, or maybe it's they're adjusting something in their shoulders. But yeah, those are two that come to mind. Yeah, the head scratching is pretty common, and then sometimes they have their landing gear down, some they have the landing gear up, meaning their feet. Anything you guys want to add?
I mean, yeah, again, not something too uncommon, but I always like when they usually like right after they take off or shortly after they take off, they'll kind of like still be adjusting their feathers a bit. So they'll like start soaring, but their tail like isn't opened yet. It's closed, but they'll just give it a quick like twitch or like shake
Oh yeah, a little
kind of.
rocket. Yeah.
Yeah. I always think that's really cute.
It must be so nice to be so comfortable in flight that you can really multitask and do it
Exactly.
as if
I mean,
flying is no major feat. They just seem to rule the skies here in Central California and wherever they are. Julie in Palo Alto asks a very important question. She wants to know if the population at Pinnacles is stable. And I'll add that the Pinnacles population is also the Big Sur population. It's one mix that roams Central California. And so we call it the Central California population. But we saw some numbers, how many birds there are, and that's great. But is that a stable population? And what are we really looking for in terms of those numbers and stability? Any of you want to comment on that?
yeah, I mean, sometimes numbers can be a little deceiving. Because right now, obviously, we hear us talk a lot about lead poisoning. It's the number one mortality threat. And basically, there's still enough lead poisoning that it's outpacing the amount of birds that the birds could produce with this current population could produce naturally. So say this year there's 5 chicks produced. That doesn't include obviously the bird. We're thinking of the natural cycle without birds being released. And like even for example, this year we have 5 chicks about to fledge, or one that fledged, and 4 others about to go, and we have 6 deaths. So we're at a negative for this year in terms of population growth. So that's really what we measure. Is the number produced, the number that die, and over a course of time, you want to see that general trend of more produced and less dying. And right now, we've pinpointed it down to for the mortality threat of lead poisoning from ingesting spent lead ammunition is the number one threat, and we are fairly confident it's such a big threat that if we feel like if we can basically make a dent in it and get less lead in the environment, that we can reach that point of positive growth for the flock and reach our goal. So it's not so much of reaching, 1,000 you can have 1,000 condors, but if you don't have that positive growth rate, they'll eventually diminish and get back to where they were, to that endangered, almost going extinct, like they did in 1987. So that's probably, I don't know, the most
Yeah.
basic way to explain it.
Yeah, a simple kind of way you can put it is they're not yet self-sustaining. That we have to augment the wild flock with captive breeding. But once they are capable of sustaining themselves, that's ultimately what we're working toward.
So that is the main goal, self-sustainability. I like to think of this population right now being self-sufficient in that they are doing all the right things. They can
Yes.
find food, they can nest on their own, but they're not self-sustaining, meaning we have to do our part to remove that major threat, which is lead poisoning. And once we see the natural productivity in the wild exceed the mortality on a yearly basis, then we can talk about achieving self-sustainability, which is our ultimate goal.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Randy, yes, Kelly, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, absolutely. And I just want to point out that hunters and ranchers are key to that outcome, and we absolutely need their support, which is why we've been working since 2012 to provide free non-lead ammunition to key constituents you know someone in Central California in and around the Condor population, they're having a hard time finding non-lead ammunition, we can help you. We can help in a lot of different ways. This is the direction that we're going in more and more to address this underlying problem.
And directing hunters and ranchers to that website on the screen is certainly a good start, and putting them in contact with me is certainly what we're looking for. Randy in San Joaquin Valley, California, talks about global warming. A lot of people are talking about global warming, and Randy is wondering if this has been a problem, or do we foresee this being something that will affect condors in the future? Has that sort of crossed the minds of the recovery team? And is it a concern as at this point relative to other concerns associated with global warming?
I can take that one. I can say there hasn't, to my knowledge, there hasn't been a detailed analysis to try to answer that question in any detailed way. But just intuitively, with increased temperatures, more frequent wildfires, you know, condors are vulnerable at night. They don't fly at night, and we saw that 5 years ago in the Dolan fire. But unfortunately, the Dolan fire was arson. That was not a natural event. I just want to really make sure that that's clear. But I think overall, in the long run, if we do see more wildfires and more frequent wildfires, you know, it could have an impact. But wildfire also creates habitat. It creates nesting sites for the birds, and it, you know, is not all bad necessarily. So, you know, personally, I'm sort of on the fence on that one. I just don't think it's a worry that we need to worry about now. Maybe on down the road, but clearly addressing the lead problem is paramount. And I just don't think that the climate change issue is going to be a big one, at least not in the near term for the Condor.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would worry about is if it hurts their food supply, their natural food supply, any of the populations they depend on, you know, but that would have to be a pretty catastrophic thing. You know, you're talking whales, sea lions, you know, all marine life, you know, and they're so opportunistic, condor scavenge on so many different species that you're talking a landscape marine level event that would probably impact everybody. That'd be beyond just condors. It'd probably be a human issue at that point.
Yeah.
Hey, Darren, Valerie, and Elizabeth, you're watching these rookies, and you've already figured out that some are different from others, some are more dominant and kind of rule the roost there, maybe. Do these dominant birds have some lessons to be learned ahead of them on release day? Is the learning curve maybe a little steeper for them? Kind of like when I went from grade school to a big college, you realize that maybe you aren't so big as you used to be. What lessons do these rookies have on release day adjusting to a world with other condors?
Yeah, great question. I was just talking with Liz and Valerie about this actually, as they were filling me in on sort of the dominance behaviors they've seen. Yeah, it's that they'll have a lot to learn. I don't know if it's necessarily. I couldn't say it's like a steeper learning curve than any other young condor necessarily, but like they have their dominance hierarchy among themselves in their cohort right now, and really one of the nice things about our flight pen is that even though they can't go anywhere with the mesh, like it is still open, they can interact with the free flying birds already, so they're starting to form those relationships, and just getting to know birds that way. So when they are released, they're kind of familiar with the birds that are around already, and there's some ease and comfort there, I think. They will they will try to exert their dominance over the free flying birds, and they pretty quickly learn that they're not they don't they're not dominant. So they learn quickly. There's not really a huge adjustment in that regard that I would see. Of course, I'm not feeling what they're feeling. They could be terrified after something like that, but But yeah, they definitely have things to learn. But it's nice that they're kind of in a again they're open to the environment, they're open to the free flying birds already. There's a lot they're kind of getting familiar with now, but yeah, still lots ahead for them once they are released.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, we've noticed that like the more dominant free flying birds like 758 and 936 have already been exerting their dominance by going on top of the pen and kind of bullying, for lack of a better word, the the captive birds in there, putting their beaks and claws in. So
Any challenges ahead? Donna, thanks for your question. She asked, Mike, why can't more copper bullets be produced? I think we are seeing much more productivity of copper ammunition, seeing it more in the stores. I was in Turner's in Salinas just the other day, and I was pleasantly surprised with the number of different non-lead options there, but we're really having trouble with just a few calibers that are in short supply, particularly non-lead 22 long rifle. And I think that caliber presents some challenges cost-wise and ballistics-wise for the manufacturers. And I think that's something that we need to work through to make it more available on a long-term basis. That's the short answer. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us. I'm going to throw it back to you, Joe and Kelly, for final words, but I look forward to joining you next month for the Condor release chat. Joe?
Yeah, we're gearing up for that. We're excited to get these birds out. So, and look forward to seeing everybody again at that. And yeah, here's all the sign up info, and Ventana will send out some reminder emails. And yeah, just thank you for all the awesome support. As Kelly was mentioning, the Save the Condor Fund is really incredible. It just says so much. So yeah, we can't thank you enough. And yeah, look forward
And
to seeing
that will
everybody
be,
back on release day. What's that?
yeah, and that will be the Condor chat for October, right?
Yes.
That
Yes.
Saturday date special for the release on the 25th.
Yeah, that will be that will be our chat for October. Yep.
Meaning we won't do it on Thursday like we normally do, just
Yeah.
so we're there. Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for helping us narrow down the names. If that all fell on me, I would have been stuck. But
Yeah, that was awesome.
great result. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for joining, everybody. And see you next time. See everybody on October 25th, Saturday, 9 to 12.
Yep.
All right. Have a good night.
See you in a few weeks. Thanks.